Yes, there has been another episode. I will say it that way. And this is the suspect. But before we go there, I have to say the fair use copyright disclaimer. Fair use copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Good morning, Robert. Robert says here, good morning. Thank you for coming in. Yes, we have some things to talk about today. Yes, I'm trying to compose myself. Today we're going to talk about, of course, yes, there was another mass episode here in the United States, in Wisconsin. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Yes, dealing with a teenager. And we're going to also discuss how does that come together with what can Donald Trump do moving forward when he becomes officially president January the 20th. How can he fix this? And also we're going to compare J.D. Vance and Tim Walz's stance on schools back when they discussed this during their actual debate months ago. They talked about this months ago. And last but not least, we're going to compare Donald Trump as well as Joe Biden views on this episode. I'll say it that way. And I already said the fair use copyright disclaimer. And we're going to do a brief little talk. This is just going to be a part one. I might come back later on this evening. But this is basically about what happened in Wisconsin. Okay? At an actual Christian school in Wisconsin. Question, Robert, have you heard of this? Have you heard of what's been going on recently? As far as this happened yesterday. And this particular person that you're looking at, she is a 15-year-old girl. Her name was, notice I say name was, and please hit that like button. Thank you guys for coming in. Her name was Natalie What Now, aka also called Samantha. She was the suspect that did something we're gonna talk about it. And it took place at this Christian school in Wisconsin, okay? And Robert says, yeah, I stay woke and I know a little bit about it. Okay, thank you. Thank you, know something. And thank you guys for coming in. This is Politic Graham. We're talking about what happened. We're going to do a breakdown of what happened yesterday in Wisconsin. And I have to give the comments and shout out to the authorities that handled the situation great yesterday. Okay, I'll say it that way. We're going to break it down. It took place inside this Life Christian school called Abundant Life Christian School in Wisconsin. And where she actually did what she did, this lady right here, 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow. It took place in a study hall shortly just before 11 a.m. Okay? 11 a.m. And she had arrived to this school about 3 hours into school day and pulled out a pop, as they say. A pop, as they say. Now, the students, they did follow the procedures of having a lockdown, because what she did, she actually did this in a study hall. And once it was heard what was going on inside of the school, that's when the students and faculty, they followed the procedures that they normally follow, and they locked the school down and stayed inside their classrooms. Now, moving forward, because I want to be very, very careful with this, and thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Robert says she woke up that morning and knew what she was doing. And this is why I'm kind of trying to, I'm going to pin it. I'm trying to figure out why did it have to go like this? I really, I'm trying to understand, because it seems as if there has been a lot of things going on recently. And Robert, you're absolutely right, because I'm trying to understand, because it wasn't just too long ago that, we talked about the CEO suspect, Luigi. We talked about that. And mental health is real. Mental health is real. And thank you, I am Jacob. I am Jacob says blessings. Yes, blessings. And thank you for the like. Please hit that like button. Now, I want people to understand, when we're talking about this student right here. She is the one that committed what she did. We're gonna get into more detail when time, is safe for YouTube guidelines. We're gonna show some clips of what happened, and we're gonna talk about, compare different schools that's been going on, because I'm noticing there is a pattern going on here in America. There is a huge pattern going on when it comes down to a lot of schools, going through this right now. And I say that because it's kind of odd to me that our president Joe Biden, as well as the Congress, they're sending billions and billions of dollars. Okay, they're sending billions and billions of dollars to another country to assist them and provide aid for them. But here we are in America. We are continuing to get issues such as these schools, these school matters. I'll say it that way. We're continuing to get issues such as this, right? And Robert, you said it best. I mean, she came to school. She knew what she was going to do. She knew what she was going to do, right? And this is why we're going to continue to have issues such as this. Because here in Georgia, this is what happened earlier. Okay, we have to be honest. This boy was 14 years old. He committed something similar at Appalachian High School here in Georgia, where a number of people were, quote unquote, you know, passed away because of his actions, right? And because of that, both his father and him are currently in custody without bond. Okay, as well as his mother they have filed charges. Okay, but I just want people to understand this is going on as a quote unquote. I'm not sure it's just something very odd. I'm trying to be very, very careful. And I was really going to plan on talking about, I really wanted to talk about the quote unquote bills that Joe Biden himself, as well as Congress. I mean, I'm just gonna just give you a heads up, and then we're gonna go back to what happened in Wisconsin yesterday. And I'm kind of trying to keep it cool because this is just odd. December the 7th. Let's just take a look. Just take a look. A quick look. December the 7th. Okay. Our Secretary of Defense, our current Secretary of Defense, this gentleman right here, Lloyd J. Austin the third, he announced to send $1 billion in military aid for Ukraine. This was December the 7th, right? $1 billion. Now let's take it down. Days later, 4 days later, December the 12th, Joe Biden announces an additional 500 military aid package for Ukraine. We have to kind of take all of this into perspective. Why? Because just in the matter of 4 days, our country has sent billions and millions to provide military aid to another country, and we're continuing, and thank you guys for coming in, we're continuing to get episodes like this at our own schools here in America. This is something that I feel We have to take into initiative. Robert says all that money and we are so broke. Yes. And that's why I want people to understand, right? We have our own problems here in America, right? But we have to kind of understand, how is it? I want people to just really sit back and look at it. How is it that our country, right? Our country can send billions within the matter of days, okay? Days. And I want to make sure I state this, okay? Since the war started between Ukraine and Russia 2 years ago, we have sent a large amount of money to assist, okay? To quote unquote assist. And it's just kind of astounding to me that we can do things like this. Hello, Northern Dame. Thank you so much for coming in. I just wanted to just take a glimpse at that first, right? Just a glimpse. Martin says the war started in 2014. Yes, Martin, you're right, Martin H. Thank you for coming in. But what I'm saying is, when the United States, okay, here in America, started to actually send billions, I don't think you guys hear me, billions and billions of dollars, okay, to other countries. And they're trying to make sure they send all of that money to Ukraine. I'm going to be very blunt and frank. They have to send all of that money because it was already signed and pre-approved by Congress here in America, okay? And that money specifically has to be used, okay, for wars, not here. Paradise says maybe we should send more money. I'm sure that will work well. Melinda. Hello, Melinda. Thank you for coming in, Melinda. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. Now, I want people to understand. I want to just give a little bit of breakdown, right? Okay, just a tad bit, okay? Just a tad bit, because I wanted to talk about what happened. What happened yesterday? And let us think about this. Northern Dame says, hope you didn't cover the mask. No, I didn't cover it yesterday. Northern Dame. No, I thought about it. And thank you guys for coming in. Now, I want to actually say, when it comes down to this episode that we had going on yesterday, and this is what happened, okay? I'm going to go forward. No, I haven't talked about it yet. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Now, according to my research in regards to this lady, her name was Natalie Rupdown, and she goes by Samantha. And according to officials, a second grade student who generally, that's I guess between 7 to 8 years old, they were the ones that called 911 to report this incident at the school. According to the chief of police, this gentleman right here, his name is Sean Barnes. And I want you guys to look at his face. Do you see the distress and relief in his face? Because we have to understand. I'm going to play a clip in a minute. And you guys, please hit that button. Please hit that like button. We're talking about it. We have to talk about it. Robert says, what I do understand, why is us sending so much money to aid other countries when other countries are almost trying to disvalue the US dollar and move to a different currency? Ooh, Robert, thank you. You about to make me cry, Robert. You about to make me cry, because I love this country. I love the country that we're in. And I just don't like to see when our citizens and people do this, right? And the lady that we're talking about is this lady right here. She was 15 years old when she committed what she did at a Christian academy yesterday. And thank you guys for coming in. Now, I want people to think about this. The person that saved the day. I want people to think about this. The person that saved the day. And I hope people share this live, because I wanted to get to the right people. Reach out to whomever this, I want to highlight it, whomever this second grade student was that made the phone call, okay? They were the ones that made the phone call to get help when this person, this teenager, had a breakdown. Okay? And this is what they say in the United States. Okay? Number of pops has jumped in recent years, right? It has went up. So my understanding, if we already have so much of our own issues here within America, how is it we are still having to send millions and millions, no, I'm sorry, billions of dollars to other countries? And what Robert said it, Robert, you said it best. You said it best. Paradise says, why send money away when your own people are suffering? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Paradise. And thank you guys for coming in. Now, according to the chief of police in Madison County, in regards to this incident, okay, they said that a second grader was the one to make the call. And the school that we're talking about, okay, it is an old school that was founded in 1978, and it only holds 400 students. So it's a very small school, right? It's a Christian school that speaks on what? Christianity. And the reason I want to talk about this, because people have to understand this is what was kind of different when it came down to the Republicans versus the Democrats. The Republicans, and specifically the person that's going into office next year officially, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, they wanted to bring what? Christianity back to the schools, right? They want to bring it back to the schools. They want to bring certain things back in. But what I feel there, a lot of people are missing into this play, because you see what's going on here in America. You see it for what it is, right? What they're missing is we have to find solutions to stop this increase of school crime when it comes down to pop, when it comes down to students, little children and teenagers getting access to these devices. Okay, we have to deal with this. I think this is more concerning to me, more than anything, than them sending billions and billions of dollars to other countries. And thank you guys for coming in. I'm trying to be very cool, calm, collected, because this is a very sensitive topic, right? This is a very sensitive topic. Jeff says mental health. Yes, you're absolutely right, Jeff, and thank you for coming in. Because we have to understand, and this is what I'm going to talk about it in regards to J.D. Vance as well as Tim Walz. They were the only ones that spoke about this months ago, right? They spoke about this during their debate. Okay, and I'm going to talk about a specific part in their debate that Kamala Harris nor Donald Trump spoke on. They didn't speak on it. Narendra, thank you so much for coming in. We're talking about, yes, there was a mass, here in America, in Wisconsin, specifically Madison County, which is the metropolitan area. Okay, metropolitan area in Wisconsin. And the person that you're looking at, this is the suspect. Her name was Natalie Rucknow. Then she also went by Samantha. Yes. And according to the reports, okay, 2 people, in addition, excluding her, were 3 people. 2 people passed away, and that is not including her. So it was 3 people, right? And in addition to that, not only did she do that, and we have to have our prayers, okay? We have to have our prayers. Yes, behave. Yes, we have to please pray, because right now I want people to understand this, and I'm trying to be very, very informative and not emotional. But we do have 2 students. We do have 2 students that are in the hospital, and they need your prayers right now because of what happened. They need your prayers immediately. Okay? And because of that, this is why I want to give the utmost respect to the second grader. Yes, the second grader that made the phone call and saved lives. You cannot make this up. You cannot. And thank you so much, Crystal, for coming in. Yes, please, prayers. Please. And I want people to understand mental health. Jeff Kendall said it best in the chat. Mental health is real. And we continue to see all of this, right? This gentleman right here, his name was Colt, is Colt Gray. And he recently, back earlier this year, okay, he committed a crime at his school here in Georgia. It's too much going on. It is too much going on. Now I want to keep going. I'm going to talk about it. I want to be very sensitive on this topic. Okay? And it's really odd to me. This is why I want people to understand. Right? Mental health has no gender, no race, no color. No, it has none of that. It can happen if you're low income, if you're middle class, upper class, it can happen to anybody, right? Because look, and yes, Crystal says sending hugs and prayers to everyone involved from Tennessee. And shout out to Tennessee, and thank you so much, Crystal. Yes, because this is a key point. I want people to understand this. When this happened at a small academy of 400 students, a Christian academy. And people have to understand this just didn't happen, just at a big school. And, this is just to tell you, it can happen anywhere. Anywhere. Anybody can be a victim to mental health. Can. Now, when it comes down to this particular school we're talking about, like I stated, it holds 420. I said 400. Hosts 420 students. They're currently enrolled at the school, and because of what transpired yesterday, from what I did my research, this school currently as of last night was on a 24/7 watch by the police. Okay, and they have not allowed anybody to go inside or onto the property of this school. Jeff says, seeing how healthcare is, what kind of mental health would we get anyway? And this is what I had talked about before. And thank you, Jeff. You right on it, right? Crystal says, I'm kind of surprised. It's a girl. Is she alive? This is getting to be too much. And this is why we have to understand, right? And I'm doing this live to educate us and to lift us, because I want people to understand you can easily prevent this yourself. People don't understand when the mental health is real. Even if you just say hello to somebody, right? Northern, I cannot repeat that. Northern, I can't repeat that. Northern, I cannot repeat that. Northern. But thank you guys for coming in. Yes, I can't say it like that. Say it different, Northern. I have to say it a different way, Northern. But yes, when it comes down to what happened to Samantha, Northern is accurate what she said. Northern is accurate. I can't say it that way. But when it comes down to what happened, okay, we're going to break it down. 2 students suffered. Like I stated, they are currently in critical condition. After the incident, they had to be taken to the hospital, where doctors rushed to perform operations on both of them immediately. Raz says take pops away has to be first course of action to prevent this from happening in the future. And yes, see, that's the thing. I want people to understand. And I don't know if you guys remember what happened to the CEO suspect. Okay. With this guy, I want to just do a quick little show of him with this particular guy. Okay, what he had a device that you can print. It was a 3D printed device, and people spoke about that because what you're speaking of, as far as Raz, what you're saying, we have to take those devices away, and I'm saying we have devices. You can make those devices, right? I think we got to do a little bit more. We're gonna have to do a little bit more. Now, when it comes down to the victims here, it says 2 students suffered from critical conditions after the incident. They had to be taken to the hospital where doctors rushed to perform operations immediately. One teacher and 3 other students were taken to the hospital on non-life threatening injuries, and at least 2 others were released from the hospital. The suspect, Samantha, also Natalie Rumpnow, okay, who was 15 years old, she did a self pop. I have to say it that way for YouTube guidelines. And Northern Dame, you were right. School is Private Christian Academy, and this is the school. And thank you guys for coming in. JB's project says, this is a lady that you watch. No, I'm not. And thank you for coming in, JB. And as I stated, when it comes down to this particular school, now I do see that this school could have handled it, a different way. But like I stated, a second grader did. And Crystal, that is what they're going to do as far as the investigation, because I was wondering that as well. And I'm going to tell you why I wonder what you just put in the chat, right? I'm going to say why. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Now, when it comes down to this school, this Private Christian Academy, they said this school had no security, okay, in regards to, police or security being on the actual premises. It had no security. It has no metal detectors, okay? And police also say there were no warning signs in regards to this lady right here that we're talking about that committed what she committed yesterday at Abundant Life Christian School in Wisconsin. Okay, they're stating that there was no signs, right? There were no signs. So this is what they say for now, because they have already spoken to her parents. They have already looked at certain things, right? And it's not like this particular gentleman. I have to show him, okay? It is not like this particular gentleman, okay? Because he had all the signs. He was missing for 6 months. His mother had filed the police report back in November the 18th, just days prior to him arriving in New York before he committed the crime with the CEO, right? He had the signs. He had red flags all over the place, right? But when it comes, and he's 26-year-old Luigi, right? We talked about him, okay? He had all the signs, right? But this particular lady that we're talking about that happened yesterday at her school, what she committed, according to the authorities, there were no signs. There were no warnings from her. Like, they made it seem like she had no warnings. And thank you guys for coming in. We're having a safe topic. Please hit that like button. This is to educate and also, to be aware when it comes down to mental health. Now, when it comes down to this particular Christian academy in which Miss Natalie Rumpnow, that is the name of the suspect, okay, who committed what she committed yesterday, okay, when it comes down to the school, like I stated, they said there were no school security. There was no metal detectors. And in addition, according to the police, the suspect showed no prior signs, okay, of danger. Investigators did obtain search warrants to search the residence of Miss Natalie Rumpnow, also known as Samantha. So they did, quote unquote, present search warrants. And when I looked it up online, okay, this is allegedly, okay, but they did say neighbors did see when the authorities came to this lady's parents' home, okay? And Crystal, yes, that she went by, her nickname was Samantha, but her name was Natalie Rupnow. And Crystal, you're getting hot because now we're gonna talk about, because this is it's rumors going around in regards to Miss Natalie Rupnow, and people are making speculations of maybe, it was some things going on. Okay, I'm gonna get there, but you're right on it, Miss Crystal, and thank you guys for coming in. Now, when it comes down to this school and the parents, like I said, the authorities put out a search warrant to talk to the parents, and according to them, as of now, there is no motive. Okay, the motive is unknown. Now, there is a manifesto. I didn't want to show it because it has not been verified nor confirmed by the authorities just yet. There is a manifesto going around online in regards to Miss Natalie Rupnow. Okay, Crystal says, I'm just hearing the details. Yes. And Christine is split personality. I'm not. Look, this is why I want to be very safe and sensitive to this, right? Behave says the most vulnerable are the elderly, informed, and mental health needs. Now, thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. We're talking about this incident that happened yesterday in Wisconsin at a private Christian school by this 15-year-old lady named Natalie Rupnow. Now, when it comes down to what was found on the scene, they did find a 9mm, okay? I have to say it that way. And both the FBI as well as the ATF are involved on the school incident. Officials say the official cause of the suspect, Natalie Rupnow's passing, will be released after conclusion. However, I want people to understand this. The way they found her, they just haven't, verified it just yet. But they found her. It appears to be a you-know-what. I will say it that way, okay? Because she was the only suspect. I will say it that way for YouTube guidelines. Now, when it comes down to, teachers and teenagers and students, that were pronounced, quote unquote, passed away on the scene, yes, there was a teacher and a student, in addition to Miss Natalie Rupnow, that were, quote unquote, they were pronounced passed away on the scene. Now, when it comes down to Miss Natalie Rupnow, they tried to resuscitate her, and they sent her they were sending her to the hospital in the ambulance. And while they were sending her, that's when things happen. I'll say it that way. Okay. And thank you guys for coming in. Northern Dame says, you know what? Give me a hint. Crystal says, this is wow. She was ready. Crystal says, Jesus' name. Yes, please. Prayers. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. We are talking about the incident that happened yesterday, right? And I want to just show a clip. I think it's about that time because I want to be safe than sorry. Okay, when it comes down to the investigator, and the person that I'm about to show you is this gentleman right here. He is the chief of police. This gentleman right here, he's the chief of police of Madison County. Okay, and his name is Sean Barnes, Chief Sean Barnes. He was the person that has been holding a number of press conferences yesterday. Okay, a number. Okay, I'm surprised. I mean, he looks tired because I want people to understand this. He held not one, not two, not three, but 4 press conferences yesterday. He held the press conference at 12:15, 12:30, 5:30, and 8:30 p.m. He did this. So he had a long day. Okay. And Northern says many other content creators on here say all kind of things. why they censoring you so tough. That's why I said I'm trying to Northern Dane. That's why I say I want to just be very careful. I cannot afford it. I cannot afford it. I cannot afford to risk that, right? I can't. Now, especially considering, my channel. I'm just coming, right? We're just coming up. We're not there. And thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to show a clip. Very quick clip of the press conference, the very last press conference that this chief of police held last night in regards to all of this, because I want people to understand, people at one point, they thought that she was 17 years old. And according to him, okay, it was confirmed that this suspect was not 17. She was 15 years old. And thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to show it right now. I think we're at that point. Narendra says, yes, Chris says, don't risk it. I won't. I won't. Thank you guys for coming in. And this is fair use.
Let's soak in for a minute. A second grade student called 911 at 10:57 a.m. Officers were dispatched to the school at 10:57. A deputy with the Dane County Sheriff's Office was the first officer to arrive on the scene at 11 a.m. 24 seconds later, the first Madison police officer arrived on the scene.
Now, what we're looking at, and thank you so much, Krisha. I'm just trying, okay? But what we're looking at, this is why I want to commend that second grader, okay? Because had it not been for that second grader that they have not showed, and I don't think they're going to show the second grader, okay, for private reasons, right? I'm going to back it up. He stated, and I quote, the first person to make the initial call to a dispatcher from the Christian Academy of Abundant Life Christian Academy School was a second grader. Okay? A second grader. And I'm going to replay. Thank you guys for coming in.
Let's soak in for a minute. A second grade student called 911 at 10:57 a.m. Officers were dispatched to the school at 10:57. A deputy with the Dane County Sheriff's Office was the first officer to arrive on the scene at 11 a.m. 24 seconds later, the first Madison police officer arrived on the scene at 11:01 and immediately entered the school. Officers bravely entered the building as soon as they arrived, not knowing what they were going to encounter. At 11:05, officers inside the school alerted people.
Now I have to pause it right here, okay, for guidelines, okay? Now, he's giving a timeline of just how fast. And Infinity says, very sad, you have to question if it was a false flag. Wild world we are in today. And yes, this is why I want people to open their minds, right? Because we can tend to get very clouded amongst the distraction. But we have a lot of things going on here in America that affects our lives personally. And look what has been going on, right? Look what has been going on. Just yesterday, this lady right here, 15 years old, she caused a mass, at a Christian school in Wisconsin. And not just that, just last month, I talked about another mass incident. Okay, just last month, I talked about another mass incident. Okay, last month, it was in Sacramento. Okay, and it was an adult that went to another religious school, right? And what did he do? He took away 2 students. And now Fast forward a month later in Wisconsin, now we have this issue. And I'll even show one more before we continue with what happened yesterday. Okay, back in September in Georgia, this is all going on here in America, ladies and gentlemen. Back in September, a 14-year-old named Colt Gray, okay, he opened Pop at a high school that is outside, that's in the quote unquote what they call the rural area, right? And I want people to think about this. He was only 14 years old, but the signs were even there for him, because if you guys been following my page, he was actually on the FBI list the year prior to him doing what he did this September the 4th. He was actually on the FBI list. Now, why am I talking about all of this, right? There's a reason I'm talking about all of this. I want people to understand this. And thank you guys for coming in. And please, mods, please handle business. Thank you so much, Narendra. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much, Narendra. Yes, Infinity. And I want people to understand this. This particular boy, right? Because the FBI, the school system, did not address his mental health. He ended up causing this teacher to pass away, this teacher to pass away, this student to pass, this student to pass. And not only that, because of the negligence of his father, this father, he is now in jail. He's now in jail, and both the father and the son, okay, who did what he did in September the 4th of this year, both the father and the son are now in custody without bond, okay? And like I stated, he was on the FBI list. He was on the FBI list last year. And with his father, I want people to understand this. His father right here, okay, I showed a video where the actual authorities went to his house and questioned him. And he stated that the 14-year-old boy that did the mass episode September the 4th, he stated how his son, quote unquote, had been going to different schools, had been bullied. He even stated how his son had access to a weapon that he provided for his son's birthday. Mind you, his son's birthday, well, not birthday, but for Christmas. So in December of last year, he gave a 14-year-old boy who was going through depression, who was on the FBI list. I want people to understand this. This boy was on the FBI list, going through depression, and had been to 6 different schools within the matter of a year. Okay? He gave his son for a gift, a Christmas gift, a quote-unquote device. I'll say it that way. So and there's a reason I'm talking about all of this. And now, this was September the 4th of this year, right? Now we have this issue. December the 16th, a 15-year-old girl, okay? And she committed what she committed at a Christian school that she was a student at herself. And thank you guys for coming in. Crystal says, why would he do that? Yes, I don't know. That's why I said we have to look at the whole spectrum. And that is why Robert said it best, right? Why is it we have an institution that doesn't mind sending billions and billions and billions of dollars to aid other countries as far as military aid goes, when we need to fix our own country here in America when it comes down to even just the students? Okay? Now, moving forward, like I stated, the timeline. Okay? I played a clip of that timeline, but we're going to talk about it. The timeline says, yes, Robert, I had to give you a shout out. The timeline said yesterday, 10:57 a.m., a call was made by a second grader. Also, 10:57 a.m., officers were dispatched. They came just like that. 11 a.m., deputy was the first to arrive. Within 24 seconds after that, that's when officers came. By 11:05, according to the chief of police, Sean Barnes, officers acted fast without knowing what they were getting into. And people on the scene then at 11:05 as well informed the officers that the suspect, this 15-year-old, okay, Natalie Rupnow, who's also, they also say she has a nickname as Samantha. Juan, thank you so much for coming in. I'm trying, Juan. Thank you so much for coming in. Now, I want people to understand, when it comes down to what's been going on, one thing I have to commend the police. Okay, they came very, very efficient. Very efficient. And thank you so much, the Herbal Goddess. Shout out to the Herbal Goddess. Narendra says, I'm amazed at this. Just tell me one country except US that has metal detectors in schools. In Infinity says 3 minutes. And see, this is why I say this is fast, right? This is fast. And I needed this to lift me up. This lifted me up when I read that we have amazing parents and an amazing, phenomenal, circle of people for a second grader to have the initiative to stand up and protect his, not only peers, his or her peers at the school, but also protect the staff and the teachers, because he or she was the one that called the police at 10:57 a.m. And as you guys can see, within the matter of less than 3 minutes, the police was already there. The police was already there. And thank you guys for coming in. Yes, please double tap. Now, when it comes down to also at 11:05 a.m., not only did the officers come, not only did the deputy come, not only did the all these people come, but you had the fire department come. You had the EMS come. You had all these people coming. And yes, hello, Inner Beauty Blessings. Blessings. Amen, I say. Inner Beauty says good night and good morning to everyone. Yes, and thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. I want people to understand they did a phenomenal job. And I'm so ecstatic that they acted on time. No, I mean, it could have went so worse. It could have went way, but I promise you, they did a great job. Now, at 11:13, okay, mind you, the phone call was made at 10:57. By 11:13, they have already posted an incident report on their website. Okay, Crystal says you don't know how you're going to react. That's why I said you don't really know. That's why I said that took a lot for that second grader, because a lot of people, they would have, they would not have done what that child did. I tell you that. They wouldn't have done that. Christine says kids nowadays need to know Jesus and fear God is sad. And this is why I say at this point, I mean, I am just glad that that this is over. You know, people are at the hospital, out the hospital, people are safe, right? We're at a place where, you know, we have to now, I'm just going to be honest, we have to now make a decision as far as the Congress goes and as far as the president goes. Okay, how much more funding are you going to send to other countries? Because we, as you can see, I'm just telling you guys, we have so much going on here in America. So much more here going on in America when it comes down to crimes going on in the school system. Now, and thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Now, in regards to this incident report that was they posted at 11:13 a.m. yesterday in regards to this matter. Within 1 minute of them posting an incident report online, the officials of Madison County, they cleared the school. Do you I just want people to understand this. 10:57, a phone call is made to 911. The police comes within 10:57 and 11 a.m. And then within 14 minutes, the police is able to clear the school. Now, when it comes down to 11:25, now they're bringing the BOM dogs. I have to say it like that for YouTube purposes. They're bringing the dogs to the school to help the police clear the schools, as well as to check, are there any devices within the school as well. All of this is done in a timely fashion. Now, at 11:26, remember when I said that fire department had came? The fire department had came within 5 minutes. 5 minutes upon the phone call. Okay, by 11:26, the same fire department that had came at 11:05, that's when they began to help the EMS by transporting patients to the hospitals. Everybody's working together. Everybody's working efficiently, and nobody is working like they're scared. They're thinking about other people's lives. Okay. Infinity says, could you move the screen full list? Okay. Sorry. Let me slide it over. I can move this over for you guys. Is that better? Thank you so much, Infinity. Shout out to Infinity. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to go back up for Infinity to see the timeline. A little bit. Now, when it comes down to Unconfirmed, and Crystal, you were on it. Crystal, you're welcome, Infinity, and thank you guys for hitting that like button. Please hit that like button, and thank you, Moss, for handling business in this chat. Now, Unconfirmed. There are reports that the suspect was TRANS. Okay, Jen, I have to say it that way. And people are speculating, okay, in regards to that, right? Because people are wondering, is that why? That's one of the reasons they did what they did, right? Is that one of the reasons? Because they felt like they didn't have a safe space or a safe place, right? Now, here's what the chief of police said in response to people are stating that the suspect was TRANS, okay? And the chief of police, his response was, I don't think that's whatever happened today has anything to do with how he, or they may have wanted to identify. I wish people would kind of leave their own biases out of this. We have people in yet another school pop in Madison. Okay, that's where my focus would be for the very future. Now, this is why people are, speculating. And Crystal says that is B. And Infinity says, what? MEDS, this one. Oh, they all on them. And see, this is why I want people to understand. When it comes down to matters like this, we have to take everything into considerations, right? We have to take everything into consideration. Crystal, nobody's coming for you. We welcome everyone. Crystal, you were right on it, Crystal. This is all love here. We welcome everybody on this platform. This all respect. And I hope people in the chat are respecting one another's opinions. Okay, because that is why we have to work together. We have to come to resolutions and not put anybody down. Because I think that was one of the issues that this person did what they did. Okay, Miss Natalie Rupp now. And I'm not condoning what she did. I don't condone anybody to do tit for tat or try to make somebody else feel how they feel. You don't have to react that way. You don't, right? Now, when it comes down to, I want to keep going. When it comes down to what's been unconfirmed, Northern says parents need to be more in tune with their kids constantly. Yes, Northern Dane. I'm gonna have to highlight that. I'm gonna have to. I got to, Northern Dane, and thank you so much for saying that. Krista says it's everywhere. Yes, it is. Now there are some unconfirmed. I will continue to get notations, but I want to always give facts on this platform. I want to give facts. I don't want to, it is a manifesto out there online. It is a manifesto letter, and people are saying that manifesto letter is from the actual 15-year-old suspect. Okay? They are saying that. However, according to the authorities, the chief of police, Mr. Sean Barnes, he did state, okay, they have not verified, right? It has not been verified. And also motive, unconfirmed. What was this 15-year-old's motive to react the way she reacted? And it is still unknown. People do not know. And they said that when the investigation has been completed, then we will know. Okay. But I think it's going to be sooner than that. Once they confirm that manifesto letter was written by her, then I think we're gonna connect the dots. We're gonna connect the dots. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Okay. Now, here we are. Now we're finna get to the nitty. Okay. And the person that you're looking at right here is Mr. Joe Biden, the current president of our beautiful country here in America. Oh, shout out to old Stacy. Old Stacy says watching from Toronto. Yes, love Canada. Thank you so much, Stacy, for coming in. Krista says, and I quote, we're under attack. She says, may never know. Northern Dane says the manifesto should state it. I don't know exactly. And that is why with authorities, and this is why with me, I can speak for myself as well. That is why I didn't want to post it. I didn't want to just put it in this platform just yet, talk about it just yet until I can confirm that it is from this particular person, because we already have enough going on here in America. Okay. They're already, and I think I showed it to you guys. They are already rewarding the CEO suspect. He has online, we talked about it. He already has a fund, donations being raised for him. And it was, as of yesterday, I know it's still went up now, over $127,000 has been raised for the CEO suspect, Luigi. And I'm saying all of that, right? I'm saying all of that for people to understand. We live in a time where we have to be careful what we say, how we do, and how we move. because now people are calling this person, and I want people to understand it. They are actually calling this person a hero. This person right here that we're talking about, okay, they're calling him a actual hero. And I want people to understand, he's not a hero, okay? He's not. Mental health is real, and you are not a hero when you take for take. You're not a hero. I don't want to say what you are, right? Northern Dame says, why does he need a fund to help? His family is rich. I've heard exactly. That's why I said I want people to understand this. Like, okay, when it comes down to the family, okay, Luigi's family, right? People have to understand this family is worth millions of dollars. He has a sister, and they have so much money. I had to block their eyes out because I am not trying to get sued. He has two sisters, okay? One sister is a physician, okay? She's a physician. And even with his family, okay? His family as a whole, his mother, his dad, they are part of the family. Their grandfather, their father, his parents' father, actually started the whole foundation here in America, right? Their father, which is Luigi's grandfather, and I want people to understand it, okay? They own nursing homes. They own country clubs. They own real estate. They even at one point had owned a radio station. So all of this, right? All of this, and now because of what he did to the former CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, okay, who had passed away because of Luigi, right? Now I have to show it. Now you have a fund that has been started, okay? And remember that I said, this was yesterday. I know it said at least 130,000 now, but when I looked it up, it was at $127,000 that had been raised for this CEO suspect to help pay his legal fees. But I want people to understand, right? Luigi's family has a lot of money. Yes, Crystal says very old money. Northern Dame says old money, rich money. Yes. And the Herbal says, where is Luigi family from? You'll never guess, the Herbal Goddess. But Luigi's family is originally, well, the grandfather. I didn't want to show his picture, but the grandfather, Nicholas, okay, Nicholas, he was the one that came to America with his beautiful wife and helped start the family over here in America. But they're originally from Italy. Okay? So, had it not been for Luigi's grandfather, Nicholas, okay, there would not have been all these country clubs. Because with Nicholas, he was a businessman. He came over here just because of why we have America. What America is supposed to stand for. America is supposed to stand for the land of opportunity, freedom, okay, pursuit of happiness. And he lived off of that foundation. And he came over here. And when he came over here, he helped start a huge foundation for his family, right? And it was because of that, Luigi himself, he was able to go to an all-boys school, okay, that cost between $35,000 to $40,000 a year, okay? And I want people to understand that. President says, I like how you spend the time. No, presidents, thank you for coming in. Thank you so much for coming in. That is not, I want to inform and educate, because the reason I'm speaking on this is because Luigi came from a very, family that people would assume, well, he shouldn't have issues. But mental health has no color. It has no race. It has no economic background. Anybody can be a factor. Anyone. And that is why I'm speaking on it. And thank you so much for coming in. Now, going back to what happened, okay? And the reason I wanted to talk about that, yes, Crystal says anyone. Yes. And because I want people to understand this before I get off with Luigi, I want to go back to what happened yesterday, right? When it comes down to this fund that's being raised $127,000 that has been raised. If you can see, the largest anonymous donor, they donated $1,300, just one person. Okay? And the reason I want people to understand this, right? You have to take care of your mental health, your mental well-being, right? Because at the end of the day, you control yourself. You control yourself. But because we have what's going on, so much what's going on here in America and in the world altogether, not just here in America, I want to make sure I'm careful with that. You're going to continue to have episodes like this if, I'm just going to be honest, I feel that when it comes down to the Congress, when it comes down to what's going on here, we need to have a strong focus. We need to have a strong focus on making sure the children and teenagers and people feel safe to even go to schools, right? And Chris says money talks. Maybe the right eyes will see. I hope so, because I hope that whoever has donated all that money to help pay for Luigi's attorney fees, I hope they understand his attorney fees, okay, are allegedly already being taken care of according to his attorneys, because they don't want to take or receive those donations. Okay. Crystal says, I have a feeling they had connections. Now, what are you talking about, Crystal? What connections? Now, when I will say this, when it comes down to Miss Natalie Rupp, now back to her, I want people to understand J.D. Vance and Tim Walz spoke about this. They spoke about mental health. They spoke about, quote unquote, GUN control, as well as in addition to schools being safe. Okay? Schools being safe. Now, why do I say this? Because we have had, I'm not making this up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. We have had too many issues pertaining to school mass, you know what. We have had too many issues in the matter, I'm not making this up, matter of months here in America. Okay. Oh, I understand, Chris. You're not gonna. Look. You and I are on the same page. Leo says he will be free in 3 months. Shout out to Easy Peasy. Easy Peasy, I was looking for you. Thank you for coming in, Easy Peasy. Leo Trap says he will be free in 3 months. Leo, really? You think Luigi gonna be free? I don't know about that. Now, when it comes down to the lady that you're looking at, the person that you're looking at, yes, Crystal, 3 months, because with this particular incident that happened in Wisconsin yesterday, okay, what happened in Wisconsin yesterday, I want people to understand this is going to continue if we do not take a stand with working together and finding other resolutions to help our people. And when I say our people, help Americans, help anybody that is going through mental health. Okay. And I feel that I want people to understand. Okay. I want people to understand when it comes down to what's going on here in America, right? We need to take control of what's going on here first before we send $95 billion to help aid wars that we do not have control of. Okay? And that is what's going on here. Okay? Miss says, why would you have to do something about someone's wealth? Nobody said that. And thank you guys for coming in. President says, what's the other solution? Seems like Luigi believes they have all been exhausted. Easy Peasy says, gonna eat some chicken while watching this. I know that's right. Thank you so much, Easy Peasy. Now, there is no such thing as far as all options being exhausted. I don't believe in that, right? Because when you believe that all options have been exhausted, then you get to solutions such as what this 15-year-old did. And this should never be your last option. Never. Never be your last option. And thank you guys for coming in. Okay. And for the people that are just coming in, I'm going to play the timeline. Okay. And there's a reason I'm going to go back and play this timeline, because I want to compare how the authorities handled the situation at the Abundant Life Christian School in Wisconsin. Easy Pizza says, what's the news for today? And that is part of what's going on. They talked about as far as that is the news as far as what's been going on, because now we are looking at a lot of things when it comes down to what's to come moving forward with our president, Donald Trump. What's to come? Is he going to stand on what he said? Okay, on specifically what he said when it comes down to his quote unquote agenda 47, okay, 20 core promises, right? Because we have to remember what he said. One of the things that he will be cutting, he will cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial or political content on our children. Right? Why am I speaking on that? Because when it comes down to what happened yesterday, okay, people are speculating that is probably why some of what happened. Okay, why happened yesterday? Because there have been speculation in regards to Miss Natalie Rumpnow. Okay. Now, and like I said, we have to have our prayers, send our prayers and thoughts to what has happened at this school overall as a whole, because just like I stated, there has been a lot going on here in this world, right? A lot, especially here in America. Now, like I stated, I'm going to play a clip of the timeline of what happened at Abundant Life Christian School in Wisconsin. I'm going to bring it back. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to bring it back once I play what the chief of police, Mr. Sean Barnes, stated. Okay. What happened when Miss Natalie Rumpnow, 15 years old, entered the school, and within 3 hours of being in the school, she actually came out with a pop in the study hall, okay, a mixed grade study hall. just a little bit before 11 a.m. And she took her frustration out on both students, her peers, as well as teachers at the Abundant Life Christian School in Wisconsin. And this particular school, it is quote unquote in the metropolitan area. Okay, it is in the metropolitan area in Wisconsin. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share the live if you wish. And I'm going to play what happened after this 15-year-old did what they did a little bit before 11 a.m. And thank you guys for coming in. And this is quote unquote fair use, fair use. Thank you guys. Fair use, fair use.
Let's soak in for a minute. A second grade student called 911 at 10:57 a.m. Officers were dispatched to the school at 10:57. A deputy with the Dane County Sheriff's Office was the first officer to arrive on the scene at 11 a.m. 24 seconds later, the first Madison police officer arrived on the scene at 11:01 and immediately entered the school. Officers bravely entered the building as soon as they arrived, not knowing what they were going to encounter. Alerted people that to encounter. At 11:05, officers inside the school alerted people.
Now, I have to stop it there for YouTube purposes. Thank you guys for coming in. Henry says, thoughts and prayers do and mean. We do believe in, whoa, Henry, you're coming in mighty wow. Little says, these cops had, yes, and I salute the authorities that came in. I really, really do. Because they came in on time. And they did what you're supposed to do when you get into a position such as a first responder, right? That is your job. That is your job. Now, I want people to understand, and thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. I'm going to, Easy Peasy says, what happened? Now, I'm going to go back. Basically what happened, Easy Peasy, and thank you for coming in. Basically what happened when it came down to this girl, 15-year-old girl named Natalie Rupnow, named Samantha, okay? She came into, within her being in school within 3 hours, okay, at this Christian school, a little bit before 11 a.m., she went into a study hall and came out with a device and took her frustrations out on her peers, teachers, as well as the staff, okay? Press says a child. Now, when it comes down to what else transpired, I'll get back into the comments in a minute. In addition to her doing this, that's when a second grader, yes, a second grade student, okay, at that point rushed to call 911 to report the school, you know what, by this 15-year-old. Okay, we have to think about this. A second grader. And this particular school is a very private, small school. It only has enrolled, as of now, 420 students enrolled at this particular school here in America. Okay. And I want people to understand this. While all of this was going on, a second grader was calm enough to actually know to call for assistance. Call 911. Okay? That is why I wanted to talk about it, right? We're at a position where we have to understand just how serious it is getting right now here in this world that we're in today, to the point where a second grader, okay, makes the decision, and I commend this second grader, and I hope this second grader gets the reward, okay, for saving lives, okay, because had it not been for that second grader, okay, think it could have gotten worse. Now, because of the actions of the suspect, the 15-year-old Natalie Rump now, okay, 2 students suffered from critical conditions after this, so much they were taken to the hospital, and upon arriving at the hospital, they had to immediately perform operations on both of them. 1 teacher and 3 other students were taken to hospitals on non-life-threatening issues and injuries. At least 2 others were released from the hospital. Miss Natalie Rump now, however, was found on the scene, okay, unalived, with a 9 mm, not that far away. Okay? Now, when it comes down to, okay, why am I speaking of this? Okay? Because it happened so fast how the authorities came in. They came in so fast. All of this, I want people to understand this when it comes down to the timeline. The call was made at 10:57 a.m., right? They were already clearing the school by 11:26 a.m. Krista says, was that her legal name? And see, this is, I'm glad you're asking that, Crystal, because this is why we're going back to the unconfirmed, because I think this will answer, as far as what is her legal name. And that is why the authorities didn't want to get into all of that just yet. Easy Peasy says she's underage, so I think they can't say her name. Correct. Now, the thing is, though, like I stated, they stated in the press conference that her name, I don't know if that's true. They stated this in the press conference they had yesterday, that her name was Natalie Rupp now. This is what they stated. And hello, Patriot Graham. Thank you so much for coming in. Patriot Graham says, good morning, Politic. Good morning, Patriot Graham. Crystal says, even though she's expired, yes, because like Easy Peasy said, she is or was underage, right? And they don't want to get to, I don't think they're going to get too much into details all the way in until this investigation has concluded. And also they are doing, Easy Peasy says, isn't that illegal though? Now, I'm not sure, because like I stated, this was confirmed by this gentleman I'm going to show right here. He was the one. He is the chief of police of Madison County, okay, Chief Sean Barnes. He is the one that actually held, okay, these press conferences, okay. Northern Dame says no. Ooh. Northern Dame says no. Oh. Joy, thank you so much for coming in. Joy says, is this state the only minor's name if charged as an adult? Ooh, no. Why? Because, and I'm glad you asked that, Joy. Joy, I like when you come in. Thank you for asking it. Because remember when I talked about this gentleman right here in Georgia? Okay, his name is Colt Gray. He's 14 years old. And because of the crime that he committed at his high school, okay, when he unalived 4 people, I want people to understand it, as well as injuring others at his high school, they are charging him as an adult at the age of 14 years old. Okay, so I want you guys to understand that he's 14 and he's being charged as an adult for his actions. Okay, so to answer your question, no, they'll charge you as an adult. They will. Ozzy says, so how are these people acquiring? And see, this goes back to, right, what is it that they're going to have to do here as far as Congress goes? Because I think with Congress, they are in a bind, because you have on one side of the coin, you have the Republicans that want to protect the Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms. And then you have the Democrats that believe more so on banning, okay? Banning certain devices. I'll say it that way. So this is the dilemma that we're in, to answer your question. And Tara, you're absolutely right when you said that they're always busy. Byrne, thank you for coming in. Byrne says all crimes are considered commercial crimes. What do you mean, Byrne? Easy Pete says, so will the parents be charged for negligence? Great. Let me go ahead and highlight that. Thank you so much for asking that question. Okay, when it comes down to, will the parents be charged based off of them talking to the parents in regards to what happened yesterday with Miss Natalie Rumpnow? They said that the father and the parents, they were very cooperative, okay, when they went to the place of residence with search warrants, and they had a long conversation with the father. Now, when it comes down to Colt Gray, with what he did here in Georgia, September the 4th, his father, trying to see what is it right here, Colin Gray, his father, he is being charged as well, and he has no bond. So this father, because of the actions of him neglecting to make sure that his device was locked up, okay, he is in jail right now and has not received a bond. Okay, so I hope that answered your questions a little bit. And thank you guys for coming in so much. Northern Dame says, who would know right now what? And that's why I'm saying at this point, I have no idea, because it is just a lot. It is just a lot. But I'm doing this because I want you guys to really think about what is going on. What is all going on here? And when it comes down to what is all going on here, we're in a position, like I stated, you have some schools here in America, you know, they do not have metal detectors, such as the school that happened yesterday in Wisconsin, the Christian school, did not have any metal detectors, did not have security resources such as officers, okay, security on location, did not have that, right? So these are things that a lot of schools here in America are dealing with, right? Some schools want to have it and some schools don't. Some districts believe in it and some schools don't. How is this becoming an issue? Because now you're having more and more issues coming about. Why? Because the governor, Tim Walz, as well as former Senator J.D. Vance, who will be vice president by January, they talked about it during their vice presidential debate, okay, months ago, when it comes down to mental health being very high as far as what to deal with. It's very high in the rates, okay, as far as statistics goes. They spoke about this, right? Now, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit when it comes down to the debate, okay? And I am so surprised. I'm going to talk about their debate that they had, J.D. Vance, because they spoke about this down to a T, and it's so odd. Everything is happening right now. Burns says the Code of Federal Regulations define commercial crime as any crime. Krista says if your kid is being weird, maybe take the pops, maybe. Whoa. Now, in regards to this, I really do feel that what happened yesterday, yes, they did handle it very efficiently. Okay. And why do I say that? Okay. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to even be a more supportive, you can donate a super sticker or become a member if you want to support even more. And thank you guys for coming in. Now, when it comes down to Joe Biden, yes, he had to release a statement. And you know how people want to point fingers? Okay, Joe Biden, okay, and he is right. He's right. I give him that. Congress is the one to make the initial approval. Yes, he is right. Yes, I will give him that. But I didn't like the way, I know he's the president and he has to give a speech. Now, with him, his speech was, we're going to read just a little bit. He said, it is unacceptable that we are unable to protect our children from this scourge of violence. We cannot continue to accept it as normal. Now, this is what Biden said yesterday in a statement in regards to what happened in Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, to be exact. Okay. And if you can see right here, he says, we need Congress to act now. Okay. And in this particular statement, he mentioned what happened in Texas. Okay. He started to name specific cities where these mass incidents has been going on in regards to at schools. He mentioned it. Okay. Now, this is why I wanted to talk about how efficient the police authorities handled the situation yesterday. Okay? Because in my opinion, considering, they came in not knowing what they were walking into. Why? Because this particular school did not have, quote unquote, metal detectors, did not have, security on the campus. So they're just walking in like, whoa, right? Now, with Joe Biden, he said, it's sad, it's unacceptable that we are unable to protect our children. And I could say the same thing for him, right? I could say it's unacceptable for you to continue to send billions and billions of dollars to other countries and not protect the citizens that you are the president, that you represent. I could say the same thing. I could say that because in his particular statement, I think it was not fair. He said, we need Congress to act now. And in his statement, he gave his particular reason. Okay. He says, I have taken more executive action to reduce GUN violence than any other president in history. I created the first ever White House Office of GUN Violence Prevention, but more is needed. Congress must pass common sense GUN safety laws, universal backgrounds, a national red flag law, a ban on all, and high capacity magazines. Now, this is what Joe Biden is talking about, right? This is him. But I will say this. We have came a long, long way, than quote unquote 2 years ago. Because 2 years ago in Texas, at an elementary school, called Robb Elementary School. I don't know if you guys have heard of this before, right? It took officers, 300, I want people to understand this, 376 officers showed up when one suspect, came to this elementary school. One person. It took not only 376 officers, but it took them an hour and 30 minutes, between an hour and 14, an hour and 30 minutes for them to de-escalate the situation that happened at Robb Elementary School. They did not handle it like the police handled the situation in Wisconsin yesterday. Because remember what I said, the Madison County Police Department in Wisconsin yesterday, they were able to de-escalate the situation within less than 30 minutes. However, 2 years ago, May the 24th of 2022, at Robb Elementary School, okay, and this is just one person, okay, one suspect came into the school, okay, came into an elementary school, and he took, I'll say it this way, he caused more than 30 people, okay, 30 people to pass. I'll say it that way, right? Including 19 being children. Why? Because when it came down to the actual quote-unquote authorities, right, all while this was going on, you had 376 officers show up, and it took them an hour to 30 minutes to make a decision on what to do. But remember, like I said, what happened yesterday at the school in Wisconsin, they were able to deal with this matter, de-escalate, okay, within less than 30 minutes. That's the difference. That's the difference. And like I stated, I will have to commend this gentleman right here, the Department of Chief of Madison County, Sean Barnes, as well as the initial deputy who was the first person to come on to the campus, okay, when they received the phone call, the 911 phone call from the second grader, okay? I have to commend these people, right? Have to. I really, really do. Because just like I stated, 2 years ago, it took 376 officers, 77 minutes to go into one classroom to get a suspect that ended up causing more than 30 people, okay, to pass. And that is including 19 being children. So this is why I say this, right? We have to applaud when people are doing right? We have to. And I'm not going to sit here and say that, and this is just my personal opinion. I'll talk about it. I might talk about it in another live. I might talk about it in another live, even more detail when it comes down to JD Vance. Okay, JD Vance and Tim Waltz, because they talked about this issue. Because I'm telling you right now, this gentleman right here that I want to actually show you guys, this particular gentleman right here, Luigi, he did not even quote unquote allegedly purchase his device. It was a 3D printed device. And according to what people have said from my research, a 3D device is a device that can be printed, okay? Quote unquote printed. So you don't have to quote unquote have a license. So this is why it kind of made me didn't understand what was Joe Biden speaking of. What was he speaking of? Because he said they need to ban altogether certain devices. They need to ban. And they also need to have a universal background check, right? This is what he's saying. This was part of the statement that he released yesterday. But remember what I just said. How is that going to prevent these issues occurring again? Because it's going to continue if we don't come to a resolution when it comes down to dealing with what I feel is the root, and that is mental health. That is what all of these things, that's what 14-year-old Colt Gray has in common. That is what Natalie, the 15-year-old female teenager that did what she did in Wisconsin yesterday. And last but not least, that is what Luigi, the CEO suspect, is what he has in common. All of these three people have in common, okay, mental health that should have been addressed. It should have been addressed, okay? And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. Now this is part 1 of the topic. I want to actually show some more clips. Thank you guys for coming in. Shout out to Northern Dame. Shout out to Easy Peasy. And let me make sure. Thank you so much, Easy Peasy, for coming in. Now, I wanted to actually talk about, I want to go to it first. When it comes down to this particular interview that Donald Trump gave recently, and remember I discussed he has made promises in regards to the Agenda 47, 20 core promises, right? Remember I said that. In this interview, he stated, he can't make any promises, right? He can't make any promises, right? But the question is, right, what are you going to do then? Because you stated to the Americans all of these things that you were going to do. You stated to Americans all these things that you were going to do, right? You stated how you were going to defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. You stated how to end weaponization of government against the American people. Like, he stated all this in his Agenda 47. Okay? I want people to understand that. And thank you guys for coming in. But as you can see, what I talked about in this live, there has been a lot of things going on. And that has been continuing to go on. So I want to know, that's why I say, I cannot wait, to see what's to come moving forward. Because Donald Trump has, he's made a lot of promises. He's made a lot of promises. Okay? Now, when it comes down to this particular debate that I wanted to actually talk about, this vice presidential debate, J.D. Vance as well as Tim Walz, they did speak on, mental health. They spoke on this. And I'm just going to play a little clip and talk about just a portion of it that correlates with what was discussed in regards to the quote-unquote mass episode that happened in Madison County of Wisconsin yesterday by the 15-year-old female named Natalie Ruppnow. Okay, when it comes down to this debate between J.D. Vance as well as Tim Walz months ago, they spoke about these issues, okay? When it comes down to quote-unquote mental health, Okay. Now I'm just gonna I'm trying to see how I can give a quick little breakdown on it, because this will be the part 2 of this conversation. Okay, this will be the part 2 of this conversation. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Now, the first clip that I'm going to show you is when Tim Waltz, he mentions how he feels, okay, how he feels about, GUN control, how he specifically feels about it. And I'm trying to see it because I really like the stance, how JD Vance as well as Tim Waltz, they did come together and have, an agreement that, something has to come. Something has to come to where, people can come to some type of resolution to help deal with these matters as far as GUN control and mental health. Because guess what? It all connects together. It connects, especially here in America. Okay? And thank you guys for coming in. Thank you so much. And in this particular clip, I'm trying to find it first. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm getting it together. I'm getting it together. Gonna play one little clip for you guys first. And thank you guys for coming in. Let's see here.
For the first time, the parents of a school shooter were convicted of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Do you think holding parents responsible could curb mass shootings? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, Nora, on that particular case, I don't know the full details, but I certainly trust local law enforcement and local authorities to make those decisions. I think in some cases the answer is going to be yes, and in some cases the answer is going to be no. And the details really matter here, of course. For example, if kids are going to experience this terrible epidemic of gun violence, and of course, our hearts go out to the families that are affected by this terrible stuff, and we do have to do better. And I think that Governor Waltz and I actually probably agree that we need to do better on this. The question is just how do we actually do it? Now, here's something that really bothers me and worries me about this epidemic of violence. The gross majority, close to 90% in some of the statistics I've seen, of the gun violence in this country is committed with illegally obtained firearms.
Now, what the person that you just heard, that is JD Vance. Now, his stance, okay, he said that the stance is because, notice what he said. He hinted on securing the border, sealing the border, right? He hinted on that. He's saying that is a lot of reason. Now, that's one part. That's one part. Right? He's already hinting on that. And thank you guys for coming in. Now, the next part, and that's the part that I was trying to actually find for you guys. The next part, he was also speaking of in regards to the mental health, the mental part, okay? And this is things that has to be addressed, okay? Because look what has happened, okay, moving forward. Now, I'm going to play another clip with, in regards to quote unquote JD Vance, what he stated, okay? Because he spoke about it needs to be more security at schools, okay? He stated the amount of illegal pop are higher today than it was 3.5 years ago. And he said, what do we need to do to protect kids at school? He stated he doesn't want his kids to go to school and feeling unsafe. Okay? This is what he said. So his advice is to increase security in school system. Increase security in the school system by such as making doors, okay, making doors lock better, okay, by having stronger doors and increasing security by increasing school resource officers. Okay, so that is JD Vance ideology on it. That's his stance on it, right? Now, Tim Walz, his stance on this whole agenda. His stance, however, is going to be a little bit more different on a Democratic side. His stance was, okay, he did agree with JD Vance when it comes down to the mental health. And that's what I was trying to find. Okay. I'm going to play that. I think I have found it. That's what I wanted. That's what I was trying to look for you guys. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. That's what I was trying to actually find for you guys. And thank you guys for coming in.
Rates of mental health abuse or mental health substance abuse. We have way higher rates of depression, way higher rates of anxiety. We unfortunately have a mental health crisis in this country that I really do think that we need to get to the root causes of.
Now, I'm going to play that part one more time. Because the question is, have we gotten to the root of it?
Rates of mental health abuse or mental health substance abuse. We have way higher rates of depression, way higher rates of anxiety. We unfortunately have a mental health crisis in this country that I really do think that we need to get to the root causes of, because I don't think it's the whole reason why we have such a bad gun violence problem, but I do think it's a big piece of it. Another driver of the gun violence epidemic, especially that affecting our kids, it doesn't earn as many headlines, but is the terrible gun violence problem in a lot of our big cities. And this is why we have to empower law enforcement to arrest the bad guys, put them away, and take gun offenders off the streets. I think there's a whole host of things that we can do here, but I do think at our schools we've got to talk about more security.
Senator.
Now, I couldn't have said it better. I couldn't have said it better. Right? Because look what he said. Look what he said. Because what happened yesterday, I got to show it. I think he brought it home. I think he brought it home, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? That is what happened yesterday at the Abundant Life Christian School in Wisconsin. I think he brought it home. Why? Because he said we have more going on in these big cities. And where is this private school? It is in the metropolitan area of Madison County in Wisconsin. Okay? And he also said, okay, to help deal with this mess is not only the mental health, but also providing increased security for these schools, period. I think he hit it home. I think he hit it home. Because when it comes down to Natalie Rupp now, it wasn't just her, okay? We had another issue last month in Sacramento, okay? We had another issue last month in Sacramento. And then just September the 4th, there was another incident at a high school by a 14-year-old who was on the FBI list. Okay? And this was ignored. It was ignored. So now where does that leave us now? Right? It leaves us still in the same position where we were, okay, prior. We still need to have action. Action that will have a resolution. Okay? A resolution for the good. And I'm going to be honest. Doing all this banning, because that is what Joe Biden, he released a statement yesterday asking the Congress to put a stronger control on the devices, right? That was part of his statement, because he said it is unacceptable that we are unable to protect our children from this scourge, Okay, and we cannot continue to accept it as normal. We need to act now. This is what Joe Biden said. But my question is, how do we act now? How do we act? Right? That is the question. And I want you guys to think about that, because there's so much being going on here in America. And I will say this, because I did speak on this, right? I did speak on this. Here in America, we have so much going on, so much to the point that we're sending billions and billions of dollars to other countries. But just like I explained to you guys, okay, and we'll talk about this even more in a part 2, okay, because if you look at the bills, okay, this is all April of this year. I'm just gonna break it down. Joe Biden signed a $95 billion military package for Ukraine, the other country, and Taiwan. I don't want to get too technical for YouTube guidelines. Then also, a part of this $95 billion military aid, $60.8 billion was supposed to assist Ukraine. Okay, so I want you, and this was in April. This was in April. Now fast forward, December of this month, Secretary of Defense Lord J. Austin III, he announced a nearly $1 billion in military aid again. And then December the 12th, 4 days later, okay, U.S. announced an additional $500 million military aid package for Ukraine. Okay, but ask yourself this question. Right? Because I got to be honest, I got to put some blame on our current Secretary of Defense, Lord J. Austin III, okay? Because he is the Secretary of Defense that was appointed by Joe Biden, right? So now, Donald Trump, he made the nomination pick to pick Pete Hegseth, okay, to be the Secretary of Defense in the administration of the Trump administration. So now we have to ask ourselves this question, right? Will Trump do better? Will he stop so much going over to other countries, billions? And will his pick, if the Senate agrees, to Donald Trump's nomination for Secretary of Defense, will this nomination pick of Pete Hegseth, okay, make a big difference? Because remember what I said, okay, when it comes down to all of these billions of dollars, it has to be relinquished, okay, before January the 20th, okay, billions of dollars that has already been pre-approved by, quote unquote, okay, Congress itself, right? But the money that has been pre-approved, it is not meant, okay, to assist in the security. I want to make sure we're on the same page. It is not meant to assist when it comes down to the schools here in America, okay? It does not assist when it comes down to the school and the security, right, here in America. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because when it comes down to, okay, this huge money, all this funding that's been going out, how much is coming back to us here in America. We have to take all of that into consideration. We have to ask ourselves these questions. It has to be addressed. And here, I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to pick a side, right? You're never going to hear me say, oh, I'm Democrat. Oh, I'm Republican. Oh, I'm liberal. Oh, no. I go off of the policies and the receipts and the views, right? And I welcome anybody to come on this platform, on this channel, to state their views and their opinions. Because as you can see right here, okay, it is too much money that has been approved of. Because look at this, the Inflation Reduction Act that Joe Biden had passed. It was called Build Back Better Act, but then they changed the name to Inflation Reduction Act. Okay? And this act was supposed to, okay, be a massive social spending bill in the tune of nearly $2 trillion. $2 trillion. And 500 billion of the $2 trillion, okay, is supposed to be dedicated for climate change. Okay? Climate change. Now, I'm all for, okay? I'm all for this, you know, if you want to say the climate, okay. Okay. But I cannot stand by and continue to see all of this, what's going on with our school systems. I cannot continue to see what's going on in our school systems here in America. I can't. And last but not least, healthcare. Come on now. Healthcare. What is this? Because just think about it. Just think about it. Look at what was approved and signed. Okay? It is supposed to have dedicated $550 billion, okay, for climate change. Right? $550 billion. And then they're supposed to, quote unquote, spend nearly the tune of $2 trillion for, I mean, just look at, you see it for yourself. You see it. But the question is, if this money is allocated so right, why do you have so many people congratulating this person? I'm not going to even show his face. Why do you have so many people congratulating the CEO suspect, right? And then they're so angry with these insurance companies, okay, that are continuing to deny their claims when they need the help, right? You pay for your insurance, right? You pay for your healthcare insurance, but instead, what do you get in return? I'll tell you a quick little story. A lady recently, this year, she had to have a major operation. Do you know United Healthcare, within 1 week of her having her operation, less than 5 days, they denied her claim? Right? They denied her claim. But here's the question. How is it the CEO suspect, right? People are congratulating him, but how did he change anything? See, this is how you change stuff. I want to break it down. You change things by trying to deal when you have your quote unquote president sign off on acts like this and Congress agreeing on acts like this. This is how you change things. You don't congratulate a CEO suspect, okay? You don't do that. You don't. This is still in the works. I'll tell you another one. Even right now as we speak, Joe Biden and the Congress, they have to hurry up and use all of these billions and billions of dollars to allocate to other countries. Okay? But they're not dealing with what's going on here. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to say it's Democrats, because guess what? Congress is not just Democrat. You have both what? You have both Democrat, you have both Republican. So everybody's at fault. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. And thank you guys for coming in. We're talking about, okay, the other stance of why I really feel, okay, the focal point should be more on things that's going on here within America, within the country here. Okay, you have seen what happened yesterday. You've seen what happened when it came down to what happened to at a school, with what a 15-year-old teenager did. You've seen it. But I want you guys to understand where your money is going, what has happened, okay? Because Joe Biden wants to speak on this Inflation Reduction Act and how it is supposed to help, quote unquote, deal with energy and climate change and, okay. And increase taxes for corporations. Okay. I give you that. Right? But when it comes down to healthcare costs, just how much has it really helped? And just how much has been allocated, okay, for healthcare? Because what it seems to me, they're putting more time in energy costs. Serious. They're putting more time in energy costs. Because according to this Inflation Reduction Act, it is supposed to do what? Create clean energy jobs, revitalize American manufacturing, and lower healthcare costs. Speaking of lower healthcare costs, let's talk about it. Just how? How? See, these are the things people need to have addressed. Okay? And I want to highlight this part. I was going to make this into a part 2. I might make it a part 2 for you guys, right? Because look what it says. The Biden administration still has about $6 billion of congressionally granted presidential drawdown authority, including funds authorized in 2024, and funds discovered by the Pentagon after overestimating the value of arms shipped to where? Ukraine. So basically, I'm going to highlight it. They still have $6 billion to play with. $6 billion. And even when the war started, okay, between Russia, the invasion, back in February of 2022, this is what U.S. committed to in the beginning. U.S. committed to more than $62 billion worth of security assistance to Ukraine. Right? So I want people to take that into stand. I want you guys to really think about that. Don't be distracted at the fluff. Does that make sense? Right? Because I'm telling you right now, this particular gentleman that they're calling a hero, and I have to keep reiterating it. They're continuing to call this person a hero. And that is the CEO suspect. You have a lot of people sending him money. Yes. A lot of people, they have already started a fund, okay, where even his lawyers have said they are not taking those funds. But when I last looked it up for my last live, that has raised $127,000. See, these are the things where I say it's the fluff. Because if you have 127,000, why not put that same amount of money into somebody that needs it, that really needs the help? Because paying for somebody's attorney fees because they made the decision upon themselves to take away a CEO suspect that was dealing with United Healthcare, that's not the answer. If you can see just how much our country can obtain billions and billions of dollars. Billions. But we still in a place where we still cannot be in a place where we feel comfortable taking our children to school. This is the position that we're in right now. This is the position that we're in. And I really want you guys to think about that. I really, really do. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. And we are talking about, okay, what's been going on and how J.D. Vance, Tim Walz at their vice presidential debate, they spoke on what is going on now. They spoke on this during their debate months ago, right? About the safety at our schools here in America, about mental health, about the control, right? They spoke about all of this. But look at what we're doing. We're still sending billions and billions of dollars. Billions. And thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate you guys coming in so much. Shout out to everybody that has joined this live. I appreciate it. Now I'm finna go up into the chat. Shout out to Northern Dame. Shout out to Brian Toller. Shout out to Crystal. Shout out to Taryn. Shout out to Easy Peasy. Shout out to, make sure it's right. Shout out to everybody that came into the live. Shout out to Inner Beauty Blessing. Shout out to Joy. Shout out to Patriot Grimm. Thank you guys for coming in. Shout out to the president. Shout out to Little Baby. Shout out to everybody that has came into this live. It's a lot of people. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. I'm going up and reading. Shout out to Narendra. Shout out to the Herbal Goddess. Shout out to people that have came in. Shout out to Old Stacy. Shout out to Christine. Shout out to everybody, all of the subscribers. Please, thank you for coming in. And I appreciate the support that you guys continue to give. Shout out to Infinity. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you guys. I appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. And I'm reading the comments. Thank you, you guys. I appreciate all the love and support. Shout out to Robert. Shout out to I Am Jacob. Shout out to Melinda. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate the love and support. And remember, please, I ask you to replay this live to support if you wish. Please replay the live, as well as when this live is ending, is over. Please put in the comments, right? My question is, do you think, okay, when it comes down to this particular incident that happened in Wisconsin, okay, do you think incidents like this will get better or will continue once Donald Trump becomes president? I want you guys to ask that question. And next question. Do you think, based off of what I have discussed, do you think when it comes down to all of the money that has been sent to different countries, okay, billions and billions of dollars, do you think that the money could also be invested more when it comes down to security here in America itself? These are the questions I want you guys to actually just let me know in the comments after this live and tell me what you really think. And I thank you guys so much for coming in, and thank you for the likes. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. And like I said, please subscribe to the channel. Also share the live, replay the live. And if you would like to even support even more, you can donate. Thank you so much. I appreciate all. And thank you so much for the likes. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. It really means a lot. And before I go, I always give positive motivation as always. Thank you for the likes. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I appreciate it so much for the likes. I keep seeing the likes. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Right? Thank you. And I hope that, like I stated, this channel, we welcome everybody, right? And be a voice. Be that voice, right? Be that voice. And like I said, thank you so much, you guys, for coming in. Thank you for the thanks. I appreciate it so much. Now, when it comes down to what I always say before I end the live, positive words of motivation. Number 1, eliminate the if, focus on the present. Number 2, tell yourself, I will focus on self, not others. Number 3, tell yourself, I will learn something new every day. Number 4, tell yourself, I will not get upset at what I don't have control of. Number 5, tell yourself, I will advocate for myself, because if you don't speak up for yourself, who will speak up for you? And thank you so much, you guys. Oh my God, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Shout out to I can't see. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love. Now, I will say this before I get off, because of that donation. Thank you so much. Now, I was planning on, I have been receiving some things. I was planning on actually doing something for my actual community, because that's one thing that I used to do before I got into my position. And that's why I speak on mental health. Mental health is very, very real, right? And I thank you guys for helping me get outside of my shell. Get out of my shell, because I don't think you guys understand. It takes a lot for me to actually be able to speak, right? It takes a lot. And that's why I really advocate, I advocate mental health, and I advocate for people to actually, help someone. You'll be very surprised at how much you guys have personally, helped me get out my comfort zone when it comes down to, being kind of shy and being not, uncomfortable, speaking up, right? And I can imagine when people actually go through mental health, right? It's like on a whole nother level. That's why I say everybody can help someone, right? I really say that, and I'm standing on that. Now, back to what I was planning on doing. I was thinking about doing as far as putting back into the community outside of just the YouTube world, actually putting stuff back into the community, because you do have a lot of people here in the world and in America that do need that help. And a little goes a long way, right? A little goes a long way. So I thank you guys for showing me the love, showing me the support, and I thank you for the donation as well as the likes. Thank you so much. And once again, always be in a peace of mind. Always have a peace of mind and always be in peace. I love you guys so much. And always remember, I love you. Thank you. This is Politic Graham. Bye.